Hello everybody, welcome to the first video of Tuesday. Now here's the thing, we're going to be talking about Battlegrounds. I've had an opportunity to play Battlegrounds a couple of times now, and well, that's better than a lot of people because a lot of people haven't been able to play it. We're going to go over all of the problems with this. I'll probably do a full dissection video because this is the first time I've been able to play Battlegrounds. I didn't get a chance due to scheduling to play on the CCP beta. But definitely from what I've kind of experienced so far, there seems to be a lot of imbalance. The matchmaking isn't great. The reward system will be questionable when it comes to rank systems. No pre-fights, connection stability, inputs, time in fights, pace, and having the time to like change a few things. Man, there's so many things to kind of unpack with it. It's good, but it's not great. And obviously this is the reason that we've got a beta at the moment. But let's go over all of the problems, what players are experiencing, and what people have been reporting in. Because it's just, yeah, it's been a bit of a crazy old time. It does seem like Battlegrounds hasn't been the greatest. And you kind of wonder why this wasn't on a separate beta rather than being on the live server. But I guess Kabam couldn't do it any other way. So as of last night, there were a few kind of like issues which were then kind of subsequently resolved from mastery resets, which that was something as well. Free mastery reset. There was a delay in pushing the free mastery resets respec for players as now resolved. That is, and this is one of my biggest problems with Battlegrounds, and probably one of 2 to maybe 3 reasons I will not be playing it when it goes live and continuing to play it. And that is that it just doesn't feel like it's fair. It's fair at the point of normalizing masteries. If you wanted to give more of an even platform to it, you should go down to the old Summoner Showdown, where the old Summoner Showdown was you had a limited pool of champions. Whether or not you had the champions or not, you could only choose these specific champions at a specific type of rank, and as well you had the same type of masteries. It then meant that there wasn't any kind of higher spec player using, I don't know, I'll give you an example, suicide masteries with a Colossus against, I don't know, a completely average champion, and being able to versus someone who would be using, I don't know, a 565 or like the rank 4-5 star using just general masteries. There's just not kind of that balance of kind of equality there with that, and it's just that just boils down to a bad system. It's a good idea, it's just a case of like these are variables that ultimately lead to this kind of like fair matchup that, you know, it's just not going to be fair kind of going down the line, and respecing masteries all the time, not having the mastery switching system that Kabam were going to have not in place. It's just kind of feels like it's a good idea, it's just wrong time and not the extent of effort to create a fair and balanced mode. But in any case, I digress. I've gone on a bit too much, and I will go into more of that in a future video. There's also seemed to be a lot of people like not being able to get into matches, and even here, gameplay sync during a match. Players can be experiencing issues when trying to select champions during the ban draft phase. Engineers are investigating. I personally, when it comes to like Battlegrounds, I don't like the idea, and again, I will go into this in full detail in another video. I don't like the time. Like, I like to spend a little bit of time to kind of assess like what champions are best, and 10 seconds is a bit too quick. I don't know, people would say like, oh, didn't you say that it was going to be too laborious and long-winded when it came to like the way that we saw it in the Summoner Showdown recently? Yes, I did. But changing it from being, I don't know, 10 minutes per fight or less than that, which, let's face it, like is 1 minute 30 plus the extra 10 seconds each time to then choose some stuff, plus an extra 10 seconds to set everything extra up. So it could be a case like per round, you're looking at about, providing you go like if you win 2 rounds or whatever, like if we're talking, what, 5-minute rounds a piece, it's like, that's good, but it's like, that's maybe, actually less than that, then that's quick. It's, I think, like 6 to 8 minutes, even less than that. Like, for me, that's a bit too quick, and I would have liked a little bit more balance to that, just so I could think. And, you know, I like to play this game a little bit like chess, going, okay, is this the best option for this? Is the best option for that? And having that, maybe those extra 10 seconds, maybe even like 20 seconds, so it's a 30-second kind of preparation to what you're seeing on screen, allows you to think, because hey, look, I'm not 14. I'm not kind of like, you know, the brain's not going boo 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 boo. I play shooter games more than I would play kind of like stuff like this. I'm a bit of a slow chess playing methodical man. But in any case, again, I digress, and I'm not going to digress anymore. I'm just going to stick it to what players are seeing on this. Connection problems. There's been no end of connection problems for players. For a lot of players, and this is the biggest problem, I believe that Kabam's server is in Canada, so because there's no European, Middle Eastern, Asian servers or anything like that, having all of your kind of like communications are going to be like, well, going to Canada. So that means that if you're like, I don't know, carrier connection to another connection isn't good, then you're going to get a bad experience when it comes to the game, and that's really where it's kind of like causing a lot of players frustrations. You can see connection problems, and definitely on the feedback that seems to be it. And this is one of the things that I did say about when I said that, you know, where this game mode will go wrong if if connections to the servers become an issue, then that is going to be a big kind of like thing here. You can't run an in-game tournament under that kind of like issue if there's going to be things like connection problems, and it just isn't fun. And that's just one of the key thing. Game experience wise is another thing as well. I mean, you're looking at this situation here where Jeffrey was playing, and it's just a black screen, and that's just like, well. And this was like, not to say that this wasn't last night, this was today. This was like, I think it was like 2-3 hours ago. Jeffrey sent this and just like, well, this isn't great. This isn't a great expectation of the game. Oh, it worked then, and then it just kind of like went off. So it's not, man, that sucks. Also, multiple draws, that can be something, even because, look, this is just, I think this was posted last night. No, it is today, funny enough, early hours of today. So this is from Marvin. Marvin was saying, again, connection problems with this, and in particular, like, there's, it's just draws from the round one, all draws. So it's a funny thing. It's a funny thing. And it's just like not about like dogpiling on a situation, because look, here's the facts of the matter. This is in beta at the moment, out to players to play about with. There's still the problem with energy. I just don't see the value in 15 energy a time. And I know Kabam would probably kind of, their rebuttal to it would be like, okay, but what we're going to offer in the future is something where you're going to have, like, I don't know, more advantageous rewards from a decent rank placement. So maybe on a weekly basis, it's going to like change in the same way that, say, like Arena Wars, when that is in a season, you always try and get more points than others in order to kind of reign supreme and get some stuff. And I get that. I totally get that. And that's great. That's great to add in something for certain types of players. But then, you know, I'm looking at a situation of this going, well, if I lose, I lose more. Like, I lose a lot. And I mean it in a general sense for like everybody that would lose. If you lose, you might lose a lot. You lose your time. You lose the energy. You lose any kind of decent reward from the rank placement. And yes, look, you've got to take a risk in order to get something. I totally get it. But then there's more to that, isn't there? Right, well, what do I do with that energy? I should really be using that energy in other places. So you maybe not opt for doing Battlegrounds. Yeah, possibly. The other side of things is going, okay, when it comes to, say, the reward side of things, you would kind of assess from what they're going to give from the rank placement of like, is it actually worth the time? Because that time and what you get out of it are the two final things of this. And that's going to be a key thing, isn't it? Going, okay, well, in this beta, you don't really get anything, right? There is something with the objectives if you go to it that you're able to get, you know, the kind of amount of energy kind of reinvest back into it. Sort of, okay, fine. For me personally, I've got other content I'm more interested in doing. So, and it's like, it's okay, but then it's the same kind of game mode that we kind of interact with. We've got masochism in there, which is kind of a general kind of thing, masochism. There's no other kind of like spicier nodes of interest. But mainly when it's not working, you know, too well, I'm more going to myself, oh, I'll just go and do 7.3.6. because it's more interesting, or I'll go and grind arena because at the end of the day, once I'm done with Act 7 content, I'll need to then prepare for stuff like the end of Act 7.4 deals and as well July 4th if I'm doing either one or the other. And also, if you are expecting this to be like live PvP, it is not. It's still player versus, well, it's PvE essentially, or PvPE. PvP, yeah, PvPE, because it's like it's basically the champion, but it's the enemy's champion beefed up, so to speak. Now, it is really a big shame when you kind of read through some of the things like, you know, active threads on the forum and just responses and things like that, and just find that people are genuinely quite not interested, or I wouldn't say not interested, but unhappy with kind of the way that this has been tested out. And I don't know really what to say with it, because it's here to be tested for players, but a lot of the times you kind of hope that when this type of stuff is delivered out to the community, which still I'm kind of like unsure why it's such a live server. I mean, I get it, because if it was on a beta, it would be a case of like, well, if you had 1,000 players playing it at one given time, then it would be, well, you hardly would get a game. But I suppose in some ways the players would know this is not meant to be working as intended. But the same thing like with, okay, well, it's on the live server to be beta tested, so you're kind of under that impression of going, this is sort of meant to be working as intended, and as well the matchmaking is meant to be taking in lots of considerations. But what is the matchmaking? I'm still kind of like unsure about how it's taking it in. In one particular game, I decided to only use 565 champions to test whether or not it would pull in certain types of players, types of champions. Like whether or not if you brought in all 5-star 565s, would you face up against someone with 6 stars and that kind of theory. And I really am quite not really understanding how the matchmaking is working, and also does it take into consideration other elements, as I said, you know, like the suicide masteries type of thing, because at the end of the day they will be damage outputting more than I would be able to under a standard mastery set. So I don't know, am I going to change my masteries to suicide masteries in order to compete in this? No. Is it something that should be considered by Kabam in order to give a fair and balanced kind of testing platform? Absolutely. So I don't know. I don't really know. But what I do know is that there are players that would like to play the game, are not happy that they can't play the game, still questioning the energy cost, which is still something that I've got problems with. The energy is 15 energy is, I mean, I'll take the free energy refills, thank you Kabam, and do you know what I'm going to do, as I'm going to do some content in game, some permanent content, but that's just where I'm at with it. I don't know if this is going to be a game mode for me, but I'm sure that there'll be some players out there that will like it, especially from the highly competitive field. And yeah, I guess if you get lucky to get into the game, it ain't good. Kabam haven't responded to these threads just yet, and I'm sure they will look to deal with this, especially because we have 2 beta weeks. This is going to be week 1 of the beta, then it's going to be, I don't want to say like it's down for a little while, then it's brought back up again. Whether or not it'll have I don't know, new bug fixes, who really knows? We'll have to find out. But anyway, this has been the video today. I've got a couple more to be posted. I'll probably do a dissection of the Battlegrounds, which a lot of stuff I have already mentioned is kind of be it's kind of referenced, and all the points are, I've clarified. But in any case, thank you very much for watching this video. Make sure to check out some other content, which will be located, boom, on screen right now. I'll see you whenever I see you, which will probably be a bit later on. And yeah, cheers everybody. Have a good one. Bye-bye.